Tonight on a special edition of Cronkite News, the Mercury returned to town for Game 3 of the WNBA Finals at Mortgage Matchup Arena. We've got everything you need ahead of this pivotal matchup.
Plus, the Cardinals have handed head coach Jonathan Gannon a fine for an incident between him and a player on Sunday.
And tensions in the nation's capital as Arizona congressional members question why Adelita Grijalva has not been sworn in yet. Welcome to a special edition of Cronkite News. I'm Aiden Blank.
And I'm Grace Johnson here at downtown Phoenix. Thank you for joining us from the Mortgage Matchup Center, where the Mercury are taking on the Las Vegas Aces for Game 3 of the WNBA Finals. And the fans, Aiden, they're ready for it.
But I think the atmosphere is going to be dynamic. And with any home game, I think if you have your fan base behind you, it drills that much more energy behind your team.
All right, so the fans are certainly ready to go. The X Factor is excited. Haven't had a WNBA Finals here since 2021.
Yeah, you're right, Aiden. The X Factor is going to be such a key factor in tonight's game. And you're right, the fans, they're optimistic. They're hyped up. But you know what the players are saying? Let's bring in Keon Russell for more on what the players are thinking.
Yeah, the Aces were high in Vegas, but the Mercury returned home to play in front of the X Factor. Still facing a 0-2 series deficit, but Alyssa Thomas says there's no time to panic.
Defense.
It's not over. There's still a lot of basketball. It's 2 games out of a 7-game series. So, of course, you don't want to ever be down 2-0. But we know we haven't even played close to our best basketball yet.
AT dealt with some early foul trouble, taking her out of rhythm offensively, leading her to finishing with just 10 points. But the Mercury aren't worried about their offensive output. They say defense will be the key to getting a win after giving up an average of 90 points to the Aces in the first 2 games.
We all have to do a collective group effort just to be better in defense and defending their transition points. So that's really what we're focused on, and I think, just also, feeling out the rhythm of the other players.
I hate saying must win. I mean, our players understand what's in front of them. And this is we got to play better to win. We can't just win the game. We got to win possessions, and we believe we see that and understand that.
In front of their home crowd, this Mercury team has been dangerous, having only 1 loss in this entire postseason. Now, tonight, the task is going to be big, and I'm sure they're ready to rise to the task. Make sure that you guys tune in later in the show to hear my 3 keys ahead of tonight's Game 3 matchup.
All right, Keon, so that defense that got the Mercury to the stage has not quite shown up, Grace, but they still have a chance to do that tonight.
Yeah, and I think that's what you expect, Aiden, when you're going up against Asia Wilson, who's the WNBA MVP. And really the question for tonight is if they're going to be able to control her.
Absolutely. So we heard Keon's thoughts. Another guy who had some thoughts is Braden Bell. He's the first-year play-by-play voice of the Phoenix Mercury. Been doing their games since May on TV, and I caught up with him earlier to hear his thoughts ahead of Game 3. Big day for Phoenix, trying to tilt the series in their favor. How do they do it here at home?
They got to be who they are. I know that sounds simple, but you don't get to the finals by accident, so I don't think there's any panic with this team. And if anything, they've proven over the first 2 rounds they're capable of coming back after falling behind early. So, I think a quick start's important. It's a generic thing to say, but at home you want to get the X factor involved. So a quick start is important, and then I think you got to have your stars show up big. And I know I'm not reinventing the wheel with these answers, but I would say those are a couple of things that you got to have your stars shine bright, and certainly the Mercury have those great stars.
Well, one of the big stars is Alyssa Thomas, and she struggled a little bit in Game 2, held her to just 10 points. What does she need to do tonight to get this offense energized and bring them a Game 3 win?
Yeah, the thing about AT that she really showed all year long was it didn't always have to be scoring, right? She's so great because she can pass the ball at such a high level, led the league in assists and broke the single season record, and then also obviously pulling down rebounds at a high clip. I think the thing for her, and give Vegas credit through the first 2 games, they've done a really good job of switching up on AT and kind of giving her different looks defensively. But if we know one thing about her, she's really great at adapting. So a couple of days to prepare for Game 3. I would say that she's in a good spot, should have a great game tonight.
What do you make of this crowd that's going to make their way in for the first time for a final since 2021? on. All the towns and cities around here have been energized. It's Activate the Valley, but for the Phoenix Mercury.
You know, I think I'm glad you said Activate the Valley. It's the crossover that we all needed. This is a sports market that's dying for a winner. I think that's clear, and right now we have one in the Mercury. So it's been really cool. I mean, that clincher against Minnesota, it almost was like a college atmosphere, if you will. It was popping.
All right, so Braden's very optimistic. A lot of folks around here very optimistic, but man, there's a lot to be optimistic about if you are a Vegas Aces fan. They have been rocking through 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, they've been here before, Aiden. They know what to do. They're on the road for 3rd out of 4 title in the past couple of years, but they really want to steal one on the road tonight.
It's going to be playoff basketball. That's what it's been this whole time. I feel like every series we've been in this postseason has lived up to the hype as what it's going to be. But for us in our locker room, we just got to focus on us, keep the main thing, and that's what we can control. And that's going to be our attitude, that's going to be our effort, that's going to be our chemistry and our defense. And those are the things that we can control. If we can check those boxes off, we can put ourselves in a good situation.
This team has gone through tremendous lows and extreme highs. So they've kind of just ran the gamut of emotions to now where I think, you know, we're playing with a more consistent nature and identity of who we are.
Yeah, I mean, Aiden, the Mercury have always played better when they're the underdogs.
Absolutely, and it's important to note this is the first time in WNBA history they've done a best-of-7 series for the final. Going down 2-0 previously was a pretty tough task to get out of, but now it's not that deep a hole to dig yourself out of.
Yeah, and speaking of time, you know, the Arizona Cardinals, time's not really on their hand with a tough schedule ahead of them. Last week, tough loss. Head coach Jonathan Gannon fined $100,000 for an incident with a player on the sidelines on Sunday. However, they're looking to turn that around this week, and Kiana Stocks has more.
The Cardinals lost by a walk-off field goal, making them the first team in NFL history to lose this way for 3 games consecutively in Week 5, leaving fans and the Cardinals very frustrated. Tight end Elijah Higgins says that the way that the team responds to this loss can still save them their season.
For me personally, like after the loss, obviously it hurts and it's frustrating the way we lost and that sort of stuff. But the way I look at it is like we can only lose 3 games this season. We can still win every single game.
The last couple games here, they haven't gone our way, you know, and there's a lot of reasons why that has happened. But we got the right leaders in the locker room. The players will rally around doing the right things, team over you, urgency to get better, and that's what we'll do. So if we didn't have the right people in the locker room, I would be on red alert.
Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon says that the hope is to turn things around and to get back onto the winning side this week against the Indianapolis Colts. In Tempe, Kiana Stocks, Cronkite News.
Yeah, just like what Kiana said, the Cardinals are taking on the Colts in Indianapolis this weekend. But, Aiden, they're kind of been in the hot seat lately.
Yeah, and so are the Mercury, down 2-0. There's a very crucial game tonight. Don't go anywhere. We've got a ton more to do. Just getting started.
Yep, more with Mercury fans up next and ASU football.
People have always had trouble trying to put me into a box. A professor, suit and tie is just not me. Without the ocean, I don't know what I would do. You know, the ocean's always been there for me. As Hawaiian people, we believe that the coral is the first living being to come out of the darkness. It's the foundation of our entire lifestyle, and that's what my research is about. What we do is we take photographs of the reef over long periods of time to create models that can tell us what the planet is doing. If we go deaf to what the Earth is telling us, then we'll never be able to live in harmony. If I can get my students excited about protecting the ocean, then they're the ones who are gonna really make the difference. I hope my students realize that I'm not trying to prepare them for something in the distant future. Their time is now at Arizona State University.
I grew up in a small border town, and water was really important to us. Without enough water, we can't farm, we can't eat, we can't live. And the way we're doing it right now, straight up doesn't have a future. I went to ASU because this is a place where you solve problems. With vertical farming, we can grow the same amount of food with 95% less water than traditional farming. The work I'm doing at ASU is changing the way I look at the world.
Well, I'm here from Mexico to cheer on them, so let's go Mercury!
Welcome back to the Mortgage Matchup Center. We are on location for Game 3 of the WNBA Finals.
Yeah, and talk about these fans, Aiden. They're already lining up. The pregame party has been going on since 2 p.m., and they're ready for tonight.
I'll tell you who else is having a party. ASU football. Back into the national rankings, a whole week off, and now they're ready for a ranked matchup with the Utah Utes. Kenny Dillingham talked earlier this week about facing Devin Dampierre and the Utah offense.
He's a tough guy to tackle. He gets the ball out fast. I mean, he just does a lot of things well, which is why he won a lot of games at Swallow High School. So kudos to him. I'm happy for him. I mean, my brother-in-law coached him, was his quarterback coach. Jason Munz was his head coach. So even though we're playing him this week, I got a lot of respect for him, his game, how he plays, how he goes about his business, and how he continues to prove people wrong and has a chip on his shoulder. So I got nothing but respect for him, and I wish him luck the rest of the way.
There has been a coaching change in high school football. Centennial High School head coach has retired after 3 decades and 8 state championships. However, he's handing the reins off to his son. Our London Christensen has more on how they're keeping it in the family.
The transition of the Centennial football team was, you could say, tailor-made, with Father Richard Taylor passing the program off to his son Andrew, who grew up a mile from Centennial and graduated in 1995. After playing for his father, Andrew continued his career at Glendale Community College before finishing up at the University of Tulsa, where he earned a degree in history and secondary education.
The thought of teaching or coaching anywhere else is just like a very alien idea to me. You know, I went to high school here. I've only taught and coached here, for the last 26 years.
The move from assistant to head coach has been a smooth transition, something both father and son says comes from years of coaching together.
I've been very proud of his hard work, his dedication, and it was time. I felt the kids needed somebody younger.
Richard and Andrew Taylor coach side by side, learning from each other and strengthening a bond that fuels the program.
They get along great, and it really helps the program out that we have 2 coaches that are in the same family that get along great.
Andrew has made small changes to the system, but says his main focus is preserving the traditions that shaped him as a player and showing his athletes he cares.
A lot of times it's not how much you know, it's how much that you show you care to the players that they can really buy into.
And for Richard, seeing his son lead the same program he built from the ground up has been the ultimate reward.
He turned down head coaching jobs at other schools. They came to him, but he stayed here to help me. And, I think the least I can do is stay here and help if he still wants me.
The love of football will always be a family affair for the Taylors, and the Centennial Coyotes are better for it. In Peoria, London Christensen, Cronkite News.
All right, London, thanks so much. We're back here at Mortgage Matchup Center. Grace, it is October, but you wouldn't know that from standing outside.
Yeah, it sure doesn't feel like it. Does not feel like fall temperatures whatsoever, but I think we're supposed to get some rain here short time. Edward Neiman joins us now to tell us our forecast.
It's been a warm afternoon here outside the Mortgage Matchup Center, but cooler temperatures are on the way as fans and players exit the doors here at Game 3 tonight. We'll take a look at your evening planner in the 7 o'clock hour. We're still hanging around in the lower 90s, but as the night rolls on, we'll cool down into the upper 80s. 88 is your temperature at 10 o'clock. Winds are light out of the southeast at 5 miles an hour. Your low temperatures for tomorrow here in the Phoenix metro area. 79 is your temperature as you step foot out the door in the morning. 62 degrees up in Sedona at the Grand Canyon, a much cooler 49 degrees, and down in Tucson, your low temperature for Thursday is 76 degrees. Looking at futurecasts, we're still monitoring Hurricane Priscilla as it inches its way up the Baja. That's going to increase our chances for rain as we work our way towards the weekend. That's going to drag some precipitation into the Phoenix metro area. Take a look at your big picture. We're monitoring a low pressure system coming in from the west. Rain moving up from the south into the area. Rain chances really increase Thursday into Friday, and then Saturday, your biggest chance of rain in the afternoon hours. Much of State 48 will be covered with rain showers. Taking a look at your 8-day forecast, 92 is your high temperature tomorrow. Your low is 80 degrees during the daytime on Thursday. Not expecting many rain showers, but Thursday night, that's when precipitation chances really start to ramp up. Your high temperature for Friday, 93 degrees with a 40% chance of rain. And then Saturday, that's our day of concern when we look at this system, 94 degrees with a 70% chance of rain. From in front of the Mortgage Matchup Center, I'm Edward Neiman.
All right, Edward, thank you very much. Weather is set. We're going to take a look at the top Arizona stories coming up. And if you're planning on traveling for this holiday weekend, you may start to feel those prices at the pump.
Yeah, exactly what Aiden just said. You're traveling for the holiday weekend. Don't be surprised if gas prices are on the rise.
I grew up in a small border town, and water was really important to us. Without enough water, we can't farm, we can't eat, we can't live. And the way we're doing it right now, straight up doesn't have a future. I went to ASU because this is a place where you solve problems. With vertical farming, we can grow the same amount of food with 95% less water than traditional farming. The work I'm doing at ASU is changing the way I look at the world.
When I was younger, there were no engineers around me, so I had to become my own role model. At ASU, I wasn't just learning to be an engineer, I was actually engineering. And graduating, I already had real-world jobs lined up. Before ASU, my goal was to be a strong, confident woman. And when I left, I became a strong, confident engineer.
Welcome back to Cronkite News. I'm Emily Foxmillion with a look at tonight's news headlines. Arizona's U.S. senators argued with House Speaker Mike Johnson in Congress today, demanding the speaker confirm Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva. Journalists recording the confrontation as it played out on Capitol Hill. This comes more than 2 weeks after Southern Arizona's Adelita Grijalva coasted to victory in CD7, taking on her late father Raul Grijalva's House seat. Though she traveled to Washington right after her victory, she has yet to be confirmed to the U.S. House of Representatives. Now, amidst the chaos of a government shutdown, Democrats accuse Johnson of delaying her confirmation to prevent her from becoming the deciding name in the House efforts to release the Epstein files. Speaker Johnson denied all of that in front of reporters today.
I'm not blocking her.
This is the longest time that House of Representatives has been out of session that's not in a regular office session. This is the longest time it's taken for someone to be sworn in, and it all happens to coincide with the fact that she's going to be the deciding vote on the discharge petition.
I know why you're upset. I know why you're upset.
Mike,
you get a lot of heat because the government is closed down, and you guys made the decision.
Actually, no.
Wait, you made it 5 times to keep the government closed.
Johnson has refused to call the House back into session to negotiate a temporary funding agreement to end the shutdown and has not agreed to confirm Rep-elect Grijalva. We should note Speaker Johnson confirmed 3 reps just 24 hours after their special election victories earlier this year. He had the opportunity to confirm Grijalva during 2 pro forma sessions just after her election, but he declined to do so. Meanwhile, former FBI Director James Comey pleading not guilty today to multiple federal charges. Comey appeared in court facing charges of false statements to Congress and obstruction of criminal proceeding. This comes after Comey's investigation into President Trump's 2016 campaign. The case has continued to amplify concerns about the Justice Department being used to target Trump's political opponents. The trial is set for January 5th of next year. If convicted, Comey could face up to 5 years in prison. Here in Arizona, some members of the Jewish community honoring the victims of the October 7th attacks. It's been 2 years since 1,200 people were killed and 251 others were taken hostage from Israel. Arizona has a robust Jewish community. About 130,000 live in our state, according to the Jewish Virtual Library, and there are 8,000 of Palestinian descent, according to the Arizona Republic. Yesterday, members from some of those Jewish and Palestinian communities here in the Valley reflected on the anniversary. Our Cronkite News reporter Kennedy Humble was there.
Around the ASU campus, people remember the lives that were lost on October 7th, 2023, and the long-term struggles felt across the globe. ASU Hillel, a Jewish organization on campus, celebrated the holiday of Sukkot while commemorating the tragic incident.
Celebrating Sukkot through a challenging day. It's the holiday called the celebration of joy, and we're celebrating stories of survivors who were able to do impactful, amazing things with their lives following the tragedy at the Nova Cluster.
As they gathered under a handmade tent, they ate dinner under Israeli flags and told encouraging stories by candlelight. One of the attendees was United States Representative Greg Stanton, who gave a speech to students and staff.
But what happened on October 7th is the deadliest day for the Jewish peoples since the Holocaust.
On the other side of campus, Students for Justice in Palestine held a candlelight vigil to remember and speak about the lives lost in Palestine.
We are here tonight to commemorate the lives of the 70,000 plus individuals who have been murdered by the Israeli regime in the past 2 years.
Daniel Rothenberg, an ASU professor at the School of Politics, says that the history between Palestine and Israel is extremely complicated, and people are often misinformed about the conflict.
It's also hard to unpack how people understand what's going on and how much fighting there is over the truth of what's happening, how much accuracy there is. It's not just accuracy of facts, it's also the narratives used to frame what's going on.
Members of both the SPJ and Hillel are fighting to see lasting peace in Gaza.
Our goal is for an end to the fighting. We welcome the ceasefire. We've been trying to fight for a ceasefire for a very long time.
I think more than anything, ceasefire, it's an opportunity to love. We've been at war for so many years, ever since we were given Israel in the 40s, that instead of fighting each other, maybe 1 second we could just love each other.
In Tempe, Kennedy Humble, Cronkite News.
Prepare to pay a little bit more to get your holiday weekend plans. Gas prices are set to rise as a fire shuts down a California refinery. Experts say prices across the Mountain West region could rise between 35 to 95 cents per gallon. Fall is typically when gas prices decline as stations switch from expensive government-mandated gas. There is no sign of when these prices could fall again as the refinery remains offline. And gas prices have varied throughout this year. Prices steady from September to October, both averaging $3.51. But we're not seeing that big fall cost dip that we're used to. Last year, gas was at an average of $3.33. It's 18 cents more now than in 2024. That's it for a look at tonight's news headlines. I'm Emily Fox-Millian. We'll be right back after a quick break with more on the WNBA Finals out at Mortgage Matchup Center. We'll take a look at what the mighty Mercury need to do tonight to win this game. We'll be right back.
I grew up in a small border town, and water was really important to us. Without enough water, we can't farm, we can't eat, we can't live. And the way we're doing it right now, straight up doesn't have a future. I went to ASU because this is a place where you solve problems. With vertical farming, we can grow the same amount of food with 95% less water than traditional farming. The work I'm doing at ASU is changing the way I look at the world.
Welcome back to downtown Phoenix, guys, where the vibes are high.
Grace, it is the most important part of the entire show. It's the WNBA Finals. What are Keon Russell's keys to the game?
All right, so I have 3 keys for the Mercury in tonight's Game 3 matchup. The first one will be lock in on the defensive side of the ball. The Mercury pride themselves on their defense, but they've given up 91 and 89 points in the first 2 games. Prior to that, only 76 per contest in this postseason. Next key, stars must stay out of foul trouble. It was Satu Sabali in Game 1 and Alyssa Thomas in Game 2. Both star players were limited by early fouls. The Mercury need their stars on the floor if they want to extend this series. And finally, the Mercury bench has to show up. The Mercury bench has been outscored in both games, contributing just 6 points in the most recent matchup. They'll need much more production from that group, especially from players like DeWanna Bonner, to keep up this star-studded Aces team.
Yeah, Keon, I know you were out in Vegas for the last 2 games covering the team. Tell me, what are your predictions for tonight?
All right, Grace and Aiden, I'm expecting this team to show up and show out in front of the X Factor, just as they have done this entire postseason. 4-1, like I said, they'll be ready for the task to hopefully get one on the board and send this thing to Game 4.
Keon, it feels like the whole city of Phoenix is ready to go. Gates are open. Big game tonight. Can the Mercury stay alive, get down 2-1 in this series? For Keon Russell, I'm Aiden Blank.
And I'm Grace Johnson. Thank you for joining us.